Steve and Cathie here. We are super excited to see all your faces. This is going, hey everyone. Are we on? Yes, okay, great. Hi guys. Steve and Cathie here. We are really excited. This is our first Zoom class with Michaels, and we are going to be working with Mod Podge today, the gloss and matte formula. So Cathie's going to be, she's at her house, I'm at my house, and Cathie's going to be teaching you a great project, a gallery wall project on a piece of canvas, and we're going to be using the matte Mod Podge today. So we have a lot of interesting tips for you. We hope that you guys are going to be able to craft along with us. All you're going to need is some Mod Podge. We're using matte, but if you have gloss, that's fine. Also some paint. We're using gold paint, but if you don't have gold, you could use anything in a piece of canvas. So this is kind of a teaching experience, and we hope you guys have fun with it. And I'm going to hand it over to Cathie so she can show you what we're going to be making today.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here with us today. We're really excited about this new concept of Zoom classes. Steve and I have been teaching classes for as long as I can remember, but this is the first time we've done it on a Zoom like this. So we're really excited to do that. We're going to be making a really fun gallery canvas today. We're going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do these. And like Steve said, it's only using a couple of pieces of scrapbook paper. So it's just scrapbook paper, Mod Podge, and some gold paint on a canvas. We're going to go through the materials list. You should have received a materials list in your email or where you signed up for the class. And so everything is listed out there that we're going to be using. So if you miss something, you don't need to worry about that. You can find it there. But honestly, you're not going to miss because it's just Mod Podge and some scrapbook paper, really. So Steve is going to share with you some different ideas about the difference between gloss and matte Mod Podge before we get started. And then we'll go through the materials list. I'm live in Los Angeles today, and I'm seeing on our feed here where everyone's from all over the place. So I'm really grateful that you guys are joining us today.
Great. So yes, like Cathie said, we are going to be using the matte Mod Podge, which is the yellow bottle right here. Just to let you guys know that today is officially Mod Podge Day. Mod Podge has been around for over 50 years. It was invented in 1967, so we just want to shout that out to you guys. Mod Podge is a glue and a sealer, and it comes in a bunch of different sizes. As you can see right here, we have a 64 ounce, we have the 8 ounce, and we have a little 2 ounce, and this one here is our 16 ounce bottle. This is the one we use the most because we use so much of it. So Mod Podge is a glue and a sealer, and it's a decoupage medium, and basically you can use it on almost anything from glass to plastic to terracotta to wood. So it's a great decoupage medium. What's wonderful about Mod Podge, and people always ask us, you know, why Mod Podge? Well, Mod Podge is supreme to other decoupage mediums because it doesn't yellow. It is archivable, where once you use it, that's it. You're safe and sound with it. So we've been using it for years. Cathie is going to be using the matte, like I said. If you have gloss with you, you can use gloss. The only difference between the gloss and the matte is the sheen on top. So the gloss is a much shinier. Let me show you right here. I've got a little, I made some little boards here. So this is the gloss, if you guys can see that, which is a great sheen, and this is the matte. So you can see how much shinier the gloss is, and that's the only difference. Got that? Now, Mod Podge, once you apply it, it dries within 15 to 20 minutes. So if you want to add extra coats, you can do that. Just have the drying time in between. Cathie's working with scrapbook paper today, so she's going to show you the full process from beginning to end, from sealing it down, and then of course the covering it and protecting it. So Cath, if there's anything else that I missed, let me know. Jump right in. I think I covered pretty much everything. Water-based, non-toxic, made in the USA, which we love. Yeah.
Awesome. What more do you want? So we are, for anyone who's just joining us now, I just want to review really quickly. We're going to be creating some gallery wall art, and we're doing this on a canvas with just a couple of pieces of scrapbook paper and some gold paint. If you've never done decoupage before, this is a great project to get started on. If you have done it and have done it a lot, this is such a fun way to just take a couple of pieces of scrapbook paper and create some really quick wall art. We've got a couple of different designs that we're going to show, and this is the one that we're going to be making on camera today. So it looks like we've got quite a few people joined the call, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started with our tools and materials.
Hey, Cath, really quickly, anybody out there who wants to ask a question, go ahead and ask. While Kathy's making, I'll be answering questions, so ask away. I'll be watching to see what you're asking for while Cathie is creating her masterpiece.
So we're going to review some of the materials. Now in your email and on your sign up, you should have received a list of the materials. But like I said earlier, it's really not that much stuff. So you can probably follow along today. And I do see one question. I believe that this is being recorded, so you can access this later. So this is the Artist Loft canvas. This is an 11 by 14, and it's a staple style. So we're gonna start with this. Now, you could also use any of your wood surfaces, you can even use a fancier canvas, but the level 1 is perfect for this project. And we're also going to be using a mixture of Recollections scrapbook paper. And we're mixing up these different florals and prints to create sort of a modern, almost like a modern patchwork quilt art. So we've got our papers. We're gonna use some gold Craft Smart paint, and this is the metallic paint. Look at that shine. I hope you guys can see that shine on there. It is super shiny. And you're gonna need some scrap paper to create a template on. And we're gonna use our matte Mod Podge. That's the yellow label. And just a few other basic supplies that you probably have, pencil, tape, things like that, and a ruler. So to get started, I want to show you how you create the template for the triangle. And this is specific for this size. This project is specific for a 14 by 11 canvas. So what you'll do is create a triangle shape. And you do that with a ruler. And you're gonna mark out a 4-inch line, just like so. And then here's my 4-inch line here. You'll find the center of it and you'll mark a 4-inch line down. And then you will join all those points to create a triangle shape. And then you'll cut that out. Now this is a 4-inch triangle, which, like I said, totally works perfectly for the 11 by 14 canvas. So if you're using a different size canvas, you may want to adjust your triangle shape. If you're using a smaller one, you'd go down in size. If you're using a larger one, you could go up in size. And then I like to do this on the back of my scrapbook paper because you don't want to get your pencil marks on the front. So you'll just lay your template down and then trace it out. Just like so. And then what's cool about triangles is if you flip it, you really don't end up wasting too much paper because you can just continue your pattern on like so. I hope you guys can see that good enough. Then you will just cut out, don't worry, I'm not gonna cut all these triangles out because I pre-did that. You'll just cut out your triangle shape. Just like so. And you're ready to go. So you're gonna wanna do this for each of your colors. And I'll show you all of our triangles that we have. We have our different colors and shapes here. And all of these are gonna get Mod Podge down to our plain canvas. And you can see that we did, you know, flower prints. Sometimes we did 2 pinks in a row. You can just do it to however you like it. If you love stripes, use stripe paper. Don't use floral paper. You know, customize this to your home or to your room. This is really fun for a baby nursery even. You know, there's so many different types of papers out there. So you just want to choose what works for you. And now we're going to use our matte Mod Podge. And we will start down in this corner. And that's important for this project because you're really just eyeballing these to line them up. And what we're going to do is apply the Mod Podge. And like Steve said, if anybody has any questions, just let us know.
Yes, I'm answering questions right now with everybody. We've got a few questions, Kath.
Okay.
So yeah, as we keep going more forward, I think we're going to get more questions, but people were asking about cardstock and Mod Podge, which is amazing. Works great with cardstock. Also, somebody's asking about colors. If we don't have gold, what color can you use? You can coordinate these colors with the scrapbook paper, guys, if you'd like to, or you know, whatever colors that you have. I mean, you know, it depends what you have in your own little stock there. But, you know, I say pull out a color from, maybe if you don't have gold, pull out a color from the scrapbook paper itself.
Yeah, so one thing that's kind of cool, you know, if you just look at your scrapbook papers like this, for example, you can just choose, you know, just, okay, I'm going to use that kind of buttery yellow color. I always just use my paper, if I'm working with paper, just as my guide. But really, any metallic.
Yeah, Kathy's working on wax paper, guys.
Yeah, that's wax paper. Okay, so like I showed you, we coated the back of it, and then I put my first triangle down. And after I put it down, I just sort of gently rub it with my finger. I'm not putting very much pressure at all. And I have not top coated this yet. Now here's my next triangle, okay? And to get that cool pattern where you're seeing these sort of crisscross things like a quilt, you want to line your next piece up, and this is important, a little bit higher than that triangle there. Do you see how that's a little bit higher there? So that's going to create that little pocket of white canvas. And then again, I'm just pressing it down. And we are going to top coat this at the very end, but we're going to wait because Steve and I both prefer to Mod Podge down and then wait about 15 minutes before top coating. So
hey, Cath, can you show the template? I'm sorry to interrupt. They're asking if you're measuring. So the triangles, so you can show them. There you go, guys.
So this is for an 11 by 14 canvas, okay? So if you're using a smaller canvas, you might want to do a 3-inch line. But to create the template, you draw a 4-inch line, then you find the center of that 4-inch line, and you draw 4 inches down. And then you join those 2 pieces there to create the triangle shape. And then you just need to cut it out of any of the scrapbook papers that you want to use. Again, we're using these pretty florals and some tropical greens, but if that's not your thing, then, you know, choose what is your thing. There's so many papers to choose from.
Yeah, Kathy's using canvas right now, but yes, you can use wood, you guys. Mod Podge works on wood, on glass, on canvas. It works, on terracotta. It works on tin. It works on all sorts of surfaces. And yes, Cathie, your people are loving your nail polish, by the way.
I just did it this morning.
There you go. And matches the project, matches the paint you're going to be using soon.
I know. It's got glitter in it, so it's kind of like a glitter polish. It's by a company called Nature Republic. Yeah.
Hey, Kat, do you want to mention really quickly while you're doing that, the giveaway?
Yes. I wasn't sure if that was, can someone from Plaid chime in?
Yeah, we'll be doing a random drawing for everyone who comments to win a gift they can win a gift basket of Mod Podge products. So
that's awesome.
So that's the giveaway. So anybody, you know, it's a random drawing, guys. So it's gonna be fun.
So you can see here on this one, I've got this air here, and we have this air here. And on our finished design, that part is going to be what we paint with the gold paint, okay? So it's not going all the way across, just your little points there, and your point down here, okay? And the picture on the website is there so you can see the placement of this. Now, we're ready to start our next row. And before we do that, I don't have any air bubbles right now, but if you did have any air bubbles, you would just want to gently press it with your finger. More times than not, as it's drying, it will, the air bubbles will just disappear, especially on canvas. And if you got a big air bubble, you could add a little bit of Mod Podge to your finger and just gently rub on it. But again, you don't want to add too much at this point. So now the next one, we're going to start up here. And we're going to add a little bit of space in between. It's about a finger size, okay? You can measure this out, but it's really not necessary to do that because if you've cut your triangles all the same size, that 4-inch size for the 11 by 14 canvas, you'll be in luck.
There we go.
Go ahead and add that one up to the top there. And again, it's just a light press down. I like to work from the center and kind of out and make sure those edges are sealed down.
And you're eyeballing all this, huh, Cath?
Yep, all of it.
Okay.
Now, here's the next one. It's the same thing that we did up here. This is going to go a little bit higher. And if you want to check yourself at this point, if you're feeling, you know, like, oh, I don't know about eyeballing it, it's very simple. You can take your other pieces and line them up if you want.
Someone is asking, how many triangles do you need to cut for an 11 by 14?
Okay, so we have, I'm gonna pull this over so you can see. We have 3. So if you're doing it, each row is 4, okay? So and we mixed up our prints. So we've got 3 of our tropical green, 3 of our pink flowers, 3 of our watercolor flowers, and 3 of our blue flowers.
So 12 altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, 12 total.
Right.
And then we will have, so if you can see, even with eyeballing it, see how I kind of lined it up?
Someone's saying maybe you can put glitter in between, and yes, you can do this any which way you'd like. You can add to this if you want. You know, adapt it to whatever you want.
This part is kind of important. Like I said down here, this triangle goes a little bit higher up, okay? You're not lining it up perfectly because you want to have that point there.
And yes, this will be on Michael's website tomorrow, guys. This recorded, yeah. We're just getting that over there at Michael's now. Great.
I think that one thing that's important to know about Mod Podge is it's better. Oh, before I say that, I want to show you. I'm lining this one up with this one, okay? So it's just a series of just lining them up. So it's got a little bit of movement. You can move it into position. One thing that people, you know, I think some people are, when they're putting their Mod Podge on, they are not using enough. So if you're saying, oh, I did it and I'm not getting any, I'm getting air bubbles, well, that is because you didn't use enough of the Mod Podge. So I'm gonna lay a little bit more wax paper down because I'm starting to get too messy over here. Get that one laid down. So if you don't put it on good and thick and you don't get your edges, that can create those air bubbles. So it's better to use a little bit more than less because it will always dry. And it goes on a little bit milky, but it dries clear. And while I continue to add this last row here, Steve, I was thinking maybe you could review the sheens, the difference between gloss and matte for the people that were joining us.
Okay, hang on. I'm just trying to get out of there's some, there we go. Okay, what did you say, Kath? I'm sorry. I was busy typing away.
If you want to just review the difference between matte and gloss.
Okay, so let me show you guys really quickly. I want to show you the bottles first. You can see behind me, I've got all different size bottles. These are the 8-ounce bottles, and I just want to show you that the gloss formula is the orange bottle, and the matte formula is the yellow bottle. So they're the exact same product, other than they work exactly the same way, except for this one's glossy and this one's matte. Meaning, I'm going to show you, I made a little sample board here, and here's the glossy formula. Let me get in the light there so you can see it. That's the glossy formula. So that would be on top of any project to give you a nice sheen, and that's the matte. So you can see the difference between the two, how different they actually are. So depending on what project that you're actually doing, you might want to use glossy, you want that high sheen, and sometimes you just want it kind of low sheen and not so shiny. So that's the difference. I've also done it on, here's a piece of scrapbook paper, some flowers, just to show you some dimension there. And you can see the difference there quite a bit. So that's really shiny. Again, you guys, I'm shining this in the light, so, you know, it looks like lightning. It's not gonna look like that on your project, of course. But in person, of course, you'll be able to see it much better. But there's a big difference. And then here's just on some purple. So we just did it on a variety of colors just to be able to show you guys what the difference is there. So again, this is the 8-ounce bottles of the two, the gloss and the matte. And here is, the first time you guys are working with Mod Podge, you might want to get the 2-ounce bottle just to see, play around with it. This is a great little size. All of this is at Michael's. Of course, in the Mod Podge section, there is a family of Mod Podge, all different types of formulas. Today we're just using the gloss and the matte. So that's a small bottle. And then, of course, this is great for teachers, for clubs. If you guys have craft clubs, these are great gifts too for teachers now. You know, the big jug. So if you're really invested in Mod Podge, this is the way to go because you get a nice amount of Mod Podge. And of course, we keep our bottles and we recycle everything back into our smaller bottles with the big bottle. So there's the Mod Podge. And there's also brushes. We can talk a little bit about brushes. If you guys are using, here's some of our Mod Podge brushes. These are great because they're flat right along the top. A couple different sizes here. These also come in a pack. You can look for these at Michael's. And then we also have our little fine tuning brushes here. These are great too. So these work really well, all of these with the Mod Podge formulas. Here you go. Can you see those guys? This is this is a flat brush, so this gives you less streaks going down on your projects, especially if you're working on scrapbook paper. So it gives it a nice, even flow with these brushes. And what else do I have? What other goodies? Yeah, Kat.
Somebody's asked, we've got a couple of questions. One of them is about priming, which I'll address. Yes. But also about washing the brushes. I think, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Water-based.
Water-based, you know, the great thing about Mod Podge is it's completely non-toxic, made in America, which we love, and it's just soap and water, really. I mean, I rarely use soap unless it's just like heavy duty, just water and your fingers, and you wash that brush out. It washes out very easy. You know, there's no huge explanation for that. It's just really easy. I just use water, unless some of my brushes are so old that, you know, I get a lot of stuff. So sometimes I'll wash them with a little bit of soap and water, which is completely fine. Will not harm these brushes at all. So yeah, it's just soap and water or just water itself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes if they've been super clumped up and like drying, then I just soak them for a little bit, even like a half hour.
Yeah, when me and Kathy work together a lot, we have a little jar of water, and after each brush, we don't even wash them till the end of the day. We just drop those brushes right on in with the Mod Podge on. By the time the end of the day comes and we're washing them out, it just comes right on off. They're like brand new again. What else we got?
We do have, I wanted to, I'm ready to put my last piece down.
Okay.
So I saved that one for the very end. And before I do that though, we did have a couple of questions about priming, if we prime the canvas.
Yeah.
We did not prime this canvas. If you wanted to, you can prime, like Steve and I are big fans of folk art, like chalk for priming. If you wanted to do, someone had mentioned glitter, you could do metallic paint over your entire canvas, and then in between here, it would be metallic. Or you could do any paint. It would be any kind of chalk or any kind of your multi-surface paints like this, metallics or regulars. You could paint the whole thing first. You would just want to make sure you have a lot of dry time. You know, don't start putting down your papers until your whatever you want to base coat with first. And then there's someone asked about photos.
Yes, photos is a whole, go ahead.
Yeah, photos is so popular. And with photos, you don't want to use original photos. You want to make sure that you're using a copy. So laser copy is our favorite. So that's like at a copy shop, or if you have a laser printer at home. And that's for, you know, color photos or black and white photos.
Yeah, and the reason why inkjet, because it is wet to wet, yeah. That, you know, Mod Podge is liquid and it's wet, and you run the chance of it smearing. So you definitely want to use laser print copies on that. Is Mod Podge sticky? Yes, Mod Podge is sticky. Until it dries, of course. So it goes down wet, and once it dries, no, it's not sticky anymore. Kept it for a long time. Yes, close the jar. Absolutely. Once you finish using your Mod Podge, you want to make sure that your jar is closed, airtight, and sealed, and it will last you for as long as it's in that jar until you finish using it on all your projects.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking about how long, you know, shelf life. So Mod Podge has a pretty long shelf life. You know, as long as it's not in, I mean, I know it's been tested in different types of extreme temperatures and things like that. But I've had some that has just lasted years. Somebody asking about the paintbrush that I'm using right now. And that is a Craft Smart brush. I'm gonna pull the package up for you. It's a black Taklon. And that's the same brush I'm gonna be doing the painting with too. Yeah. Now I don't know if you can see, we got a little bit of an air bubble right here. It's very hard to tell because that's the watercolor paper. So I'm just gonna gently press it with my finger, and then I'm gonna leave it alone because the main thing, what makes the bubbles worse is if you mess with them too much. So leave the bubbles alone. And then yeah, the dry time as a glue and a sealer. So you wanna glue everything down, and then Steve and I like to wait about 15 minutes before we seal. And then, you know, if after about 2 hours, it's pretty dry, but you may want to, you know, overnight, especially if you're going to, oh, someone asked about a hairdryer. You know, you can. I don't really recommend it because
I don't either.
Heating it up, you know, if it was an emergency or something, a craft emergency, you could do that. But
the natural dry time is the best.
Yeah, natural drying.
Hey, Kath, they're asking about scrapbook paper. Do you have any information? Do you have the pack over there?
Oh, yeah. Pack? So in our instruction sheet too, it's going to tell you the exact sheets that we use.
There you go.
But these are the recollection papers. So this one's called Green Floral. And I also want to say one more thing about paper. You can use tissue paper. You can use some napkins, you know, lots of different types of papers. One of Steve and I's favorite thing to do is to just get one of those thicker, you know, paper packs, because they come coordinated already. So if you're creating artwork like this, where you want to have a coordinated gallery style look, you know, a couple of different things that hang together, then those paper packs are brilliant.
Oh yeah, and they're cost effective too, because
and the work's been done for you. You know, there's usually a stripe or a floral, or you know, you can mix and match all those sheets. So we're huge fans of those paper packs.
Is Mod Podge waterproof? No, Mod Podge is not waterproof. There is a dishwasher safe formula, guys, that you can, there's a cure time to it though, and it can be put in the dishwasher. So you might want to check that out. It's called Dishwasher Safe Mod Podge, but the gloss and the matte are not waterproof. Of course, they're not meant to be waterproof. So check out the Dishwasher Safe if you're looking for something completely waterproof, yeah.
And also, yes, you can use postcards too. The Ultra, the Mod Podge Ultra.
Yes.
Is, let me grab.
That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. And grab it. That's a whole nother class. We're doing a whole class on that.
Yeah.
That's going to be super cool. We're going to be doing some beach artwork. So here is the green leaves paper, kind of a tropical leaf. And here is some watercolor flowers. And then this one is pink flowers, a little bit of a pink kind of rose. So yes, you can use fabric instead of scrapbook paper. And there is a fabric Mod Podge formula, which it works best for fabric to canvas or fabric to fabric or fabric to wood. You know, so you can use fabric for sure. Now, a couple things about fabric is if you want to get this nice clean edge like that, then I like to put a piece of fabric down on a surface and coat the back of it first and let that dry. And then you can cut it and you'll get a really sharp edge.
Yeah. And you know what, just to let you guys know, what Cathie just did on canvas right now can be completely repeated on top of wood, on top of tin, almost any surface. So just to let you know that Mod Podge doesn't only work on canvas, it works on paper mache, it works on glass, it works on wood, it works on tin. So you can really experiment with it.
And yeah, someone was talking about this sheet here. So this is a fun thing to look for. Usually it's marked on the paper. So if you'll see there, it'll say double-sided. So when you're looking at the scrapbooking wrap, if you see that black strip or double-sided or something, it's just letting you know that there's a print on the back as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a good way to get a coordinated look too. You could use this for some triangles and you could use the flowers on the other side.
We have a question. Does the paper have to be thick? And that answer is no. You can use tissue paper, napkins. So Mod Podge works with, there's a little bit of a learning curve with, I think, each one with like napkins and tissue paper, just so you can get the feel of it. But yes, Mod Podge works with all sorts of papers and all different thicknesses.
So I have a canvas here that I've stepped out. This one, because of the weight of the gold painting, I needed to do some of the gold painting in advance, because normally you would tape off and you would paint this section, wait for it to dry, and then you would tape off and paint this section. But for time, we don't have time for that. So I went ahead and painted my two side sections. And I want to show you how I tape off and how I do that. So do you remember when I was saying at the beginning how important it was that this second row gets started a little bit higher? That's so that we complete that V there. Because if I had started it, lined it up here, you would end up with a straight line. You wouldn't get that crisscross look. So let's show you the paint that we're going to use. This is, let's see, I'm new to this camera rig, so I hope I'm doing this right. This is the Craft Smart, and it's the premium metallic, and it is a gorgeous color. I've got a big section of it here. So let me see if I can.
Yeah, that's pretty.
There we go. I'm working with a new camera rig, so I'm getting used to it, but you can see how gold that is. And this comes in a wide variety of metallic colors. But again, if metallic's not your thing, use a matte color. You know, if you want glitter, you can also tape this off, put Mod Podge down, and sprinkle glitter on it, you know? So you can do however you like it. This is just giving you the inspiration.
Yes, Mod Podge does work on tile. It's actually, for one of my favorites is working on top of tiles, all sorts of tiles. It definitely, you can paint the tile first and then Mod Podge on top of that, or it works directly, you know, on top of the tile. I've made so many coasters out of, Cathie, how many projects have we done making coasters with Mod Podge? We've done it all. So yes, the coasters are an amazing gift, and it seems like every year we're teaching how to make coasters using tile. So that answer is an absolute yes.
I think, you know, there's always somebody new to decoupage. So
always.
Even though, you know, we may think, oh, we've done it on a canvas a million times, but yeah, there's always somebody new. And that's what's so fun about working with Mod Podge is that, you know, you don't have to have a tremendous amount of experience in crafting. This is a great project for someone who's just getting started.
Can you do a session on tiles? Well, I hope so. So maybe in the future, we'll be able to do a tile session. That would be great. Really quickly, you guys, while Cathie's taking this off, let me just show you again the formulas. I just want to show you, just anybody that's new coming on, the two formulas, the two original formulas. Cathie right now is we're using the matte formula, and this is also the gloss formula. So these are the two original formulas of Mod Podge. And I'll be very quickly with this. And just to show you the difference between the two formulas, Cathie right now is using this formula, which is the matte, and that's the gloss. So depending on whatever project you're doing, you might want a high gloss finish. This is the one you'd be using, which is the orange bottle. Cathie, on this project that you can see is the matte, and that's the yellow bottle. Okay, sorry, bye.
So somebody asked about outdoors.
Yes.
And yeah, you would just use the outdoor formula. So we do have an outdoor formula also. So this, and someone was asking about the tape. I'm going to show you what the package looks like. So I've opened it, but so you can imagine. But this is the ArtMinds stencil tape, and it is a low tack tape. Okay, so it's not like a regular masking tape. It has the sticky is a little bit less, and that's what allows you to stick it onto your paper. Oh, maybe stick it too hard. There we go, and not pick up any of your paper. One thing I want to show you is yesterday when I prepped this out, I had an air bubble right here and I left it alone and now it's gone. So again, with air bubbles, the least you try to work them out, the better off you'll be. So now we're going to, I pre-painted that, and I just want to show you that we're going to tape off. Let's see, we'll go this direction first. And I'm lining
this is being recorded. I'm sorry for interrupting, Cath. People are asking. This is being recorded, so if you came in late, you'll be able to watch it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm lining the tape up with the triangle edge that's above this one, and then you just sort of maneuver it so that you're seeing the white there. I'm going to pick this up. Hopefully you guys can see that good. So I lined it up starting with this edge, and then you just kind of move it into position and press down. And you want to make sure on this edge where the paint is going to go that you really press that edge down. And then on the corners, you'll be wrapping it around, because as you can see, we're painting the side edge too, just to give it a finished off look. So that's the first piece down. And then you will line your second piece up. Make sure I'm doing this the right way, right across there, and press down, and then wrap it around. And that will continue that pattern of the canvas part. And somebody asked if you could just cut these triangles in half and continue it over, and you absolutely can. That's not a problem at all. You would just literally, just like you said, cut it in half. You may have to trim it a little bit smaller, but you can, or you can add the metallic paint. It's really up to you. These are all just ideas for you to think about what you can do with, you know, just a few sheets of scrapbook paper and then a canvas.
Yeah. So guys, this is being recorded and it will be at michaels.com/classes, available tomorrow. So all you joining in late, you can see it from the beginning there at michaels.com/classes.
Awesome. That is so great. And how can we all just say thank you to Michaels for
yes,
awesome
Michaels,
classes that they're providing. This is so amazing.
Yeah, and of course you guys can get all your Mod Podge products, of course, at Michaels. And there is a variety. There's a whole family of Mod Podge. Like we said today, we're just using the matte formula, but check it out. There is a whole variety family of Mod Podge products at Michaels.
And at michaels.com, there is a lot of different Mod Podge projects for inspiration. So if you're on michaels.com and you put in Mod Podge, you can go through a whole little slew of projects and different things that you can make and inspiration.
Yeah, you'll be going down the Michaels rabbit hole. And you'll get lost for a while, yes.
You can sign me up for that.
Yeah.
So now I've got my gold paint. It's the Craft Smart Premium Metallic Paint in gold. And one thing I want to talk about is I have sealed this edge down really good. And I don't like to paint this way. You don't want to go towards the tape because you might get paint underneath the tape. You want to go down and you want to go away from the tape. And that will help you with bleed lines. Because that is and you don't want to do, I would say I have a pretty thin layer. This is 3 layers of the paint, okay? And that's why I had to do that in advance, because you want to do thin layers and let it dry in between. And that way you'll get a nice finished edge. You want that, as sharp as edge as possible. So thin layers and let it dry in between. And then you definitely want to paint your edges too. And if you can see where our tape is, that's where our white line will continue over. And that's just a design element. If that's not for you, just paint the whole thing. You can also hot glue ribbon or trim around the edge to finish it off. You can pop it in a frame to finish it off. It's really endless. It's whatever you like for your home and your space. And talking about papers again, and the paper packs, let's say you're doing a kid's room. You can grab a paper pack that is all kids prints and you can create artwork, you can add it to the desktop, you can put it on the back of a chair. You can really mix and match all of these together just to create a coordinated look for whatever room you're decorating.
So they're asking, after you paint, how long does it take for it to dry to remove the paint? I would say about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so on these ones here, I had about 15 minutes dry time in between coats. And then you want to, I'm gonna go ahead and peel this tape just so you can see that reveal, even though normally I would paint, 3 coats there. But we'll go ahead and pull this up so you can see that nice crisp line. And what's important about that line, I just put my finger right in the paint. Don't peel your tape when it's too wet.
Or work upside down, right?
Right. And you can see how this low tack tape, it's not affecting my scrapbook paper at all. So that's important. That's why you want to make sure. Somebody asked about washi tape. I'm guessing washi tape would work. Now, the other thing about washi tape is it's really fun if you wanted to do a crisscross pattern like this. We have many, many times used washi tape as a design element, and you seal it with the Mod Podge. Yeah. So, washi tape isn't super sticky. So I have put the Mod Podge down, put my washi tape on top, and then wait 15 minutes and seal over the washi tape.
Can you put glitter in Mod Podge? Yes, you can. I would recommend, though, you do a little test first. Because just to see how it looks before you do a whole project. We've experimented with Mod Podge quite a bit with all sorts of things. But yes, the answer is you can put it in Mod Podge and you can also sprinkle it on top of Mod Podge so it embeds and sticks that way also. Yeah.
And if you wanted to do like an all over glitter look or something like that, you could, like Steve said, just put your Mod Podge all over your canvas, sprinkle it on, tap everything off, like you would, and then you could even do your triangles over that once it's all dry. So it's endless. You can really mix and match these however you want.
Sure.
Next, I want to talk about top coating. So as Steve was saying, Mod Podge is a glue and a sealer. And at this point, so I'm back to my original canvas. You know what, I'm going to show you on the sample board because we may need to hold this one back up again. So let's just pretend like everything is painted at this point. Did you guys, you know, does anybody want to see how I tape down again? Do you want me to review that again? Yes, no? I'll just show real quick.
I have a yes and a no. So yeah, do it really fast, Cath. Do it really fast.
All right, so you just want to, like for this corner here, you just want to put your tape a little bit over. You're just mimicking this edge. So you just want to have a little bit like that, and then make sure you do enough to wrap around because we are painting that edge. So you just, and the tape will go naturally that way. So just let it naturally flow. So you're just taping off a little bit of the white there so that you continue these lines all the way through.
They're asking about Ultra Mod Podge again. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm thinking we might be doing Ultra next Friday. Is that correct?
I'm not sure which day Ultra is.
We will be doing with Michael's, we will be showing the Ultra. It's not going to be today. We're using the matte formula, but we will be doing using some of the Ultra in the future projects.
Yes. We're going to be making a beach landscape painting that uses tissue paper
with the shells. That's
Mod Podge and sand, and we're going to show in that video. We'll be showing how the Ultra works with the tissue papers, but also with 3D embellishments like the shells.
And it's hard to get into right now because it's a little extensive, and there's so much information about it.
But it is
amazing product for sure.
So now with the same matte Mod Podge formula, I'm so worried I'm going to pour it out.
And future classes will be posted early next week, you guys, on michaels.com/online classes. So you can see the full schedule of all the classes that we're going to be doing and other classes, of course, that Michael's going to be doing on michaels.com/online classes.
So now for the top coating, I'm using the same formula. Again, this is going to have the matte look. If you wanted gloss, you would just use gloss. And it goes on a little milky, but it's going to dry perfectly clear. And I like to use very long brush strokes, just like that. You don't want to do this, because if you're doing this, then you're going to get a whole bunch of brush stroke marks that way. Oh, the tape is called Stencil tape. It's ArtMinds brand. It's the Michaels brand, and it's Stencil tape. So you'll just do really long brush strokes, just like so. And for this project, I'm going to go right up to that gold. I'm not going to go over it because I don't want to dull out that gold finish there. But I do want to seal these papers down. And someone was asking about doing this for outdoors. Absolutely. People have done mailboxes. I mean, they do everything you can imagine.
You do want to use the outdoor formula for that, though, guys.
Yeah, outdoor. Let's see. Go ahead. And then nice long brush strokes. And it is milky at this point, but it's going to dry perfectly clear and a little bit matte.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's get into here. You'll just continue top coating. Of course, normally all your paint would be done, but we do have a little bit of dry time issues today with being live. So you would just do that. And for here,
we don't have the outdoor formula bottle with me. That's the baby blue, isn't that correct, Cath?
It's green.
It's a green. That's right. It's green. Yeah, I don't have an outdoor. Oh, bingo. Ask and you shall receive. Cathie has it right there. That's the outdoor formula.
Yeah, it's really fun if you know, people are doing signs. Steve and I just did a video actually yesterday, yard signs. You know, there's so many people having different types of graduations now. So we did some graduation yard signs. And
that was a fun project. I thought we've made everything, Cath, and we never made yard signs before. So that was fun. We finished that one yesterday.
So there we go, just long brush strokes. Again, not all crazy brush strokes, just long, straight up and down. And I'm gonna pick that up and see if you can see that. It's a little bit milky.
You can use foam brushes for this project also, we're asking. And you can get these at Michael's. So this is what the foam brush at Michael's. You absolutely can use a foam brush.
Yeah, for sure. And then I want to show you, so this is the finished canvas, and you can see how matte that finish is. And then look at the edges, painted all around. So it's really ready to just go, because these are the staple back style. You can just have a small nail and boom, you can pop that right up onto your wall. And the idea with these was to coordinate these papers together to create a gallery look. And so here's another canvas, and Steve has one that's on wood that he's going to show you. So this one here, we did that same gold paint, but instead of triangles, you know, I'm gonna take this one out from under it because it's a little bit hard to see. There we go. We did strips. So these are just strips of paper, and again, wrapping around that edge. So it's finished all the way around, and same deal, just ready to hang up on your wall. So it's a really fun way if you want to coordinate a whole bunch of different artworks together. You can just take a couple of different, you know, scrapbook papers, the ones that match your house or your decor for that season. And that's important to know too. You can make seasonal artwork, you know, you can do something for holidays.
Can you dilute Mod Podge with a little water? We don't recommend it because you won't get the full effect of Mod Podge because it's such a good glue and sealer. We recommend just leaving it straight out of the bottle the way it is. Let me show you guys the wood. So Cathie showed you all that on canvas. Like I said, Mod Podge works on everything from canvas to wood, to tin, to paper mache, glass, terracotta. So here is kind of the sister of that project, and this is on wood. So if you guys have any wood surfaces, Michael's wood surfaces around, it works brilliantly on wood. Exact same way that you did on canvas, just on wood. And here's the gold paint and the same scrapbook paper that we used.
That is so shiny.
Look, in my light, look at that.
Yeah, it's super shiny. Somebody was asking about our other videos. So on Thursdays, we have videos that are on Plaid Crafts Facebook page and Instagram page. So you can always go to Plaid Crafts and find more Mod Podge inspiration there too.
And that's where the yard signs are. Somebody was asking about the yard signs.
Yeah.
Sure.
And on that one, we use the gloss Mod Podge, and then Steve shows how you seal it with the outdoor formula. So those were really fun to make. We did a birthday and a thank you for first responders and
graduation,
teacher thank you. So they're
I know those were fun, Cathie. Like I said, we've never done yard signs out of all these years. So yesterday was just like something new. It was great. Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, we did paint the entire wood surface with the gold paint before adding the stripes down.
Yes,
so
there it is. Yeah, so even on the canvas, you guys, what Cathie showed you, you could paint the whole entire canvas gold, let that dry, and then do the triangles and the taping so you have gold underneath it instead of the white. So you can mix and match however you want. We decided to paint the entire wood surface gold. And do it that way, just to kind of mix it up and show you.
And those are wrapped around to the side too. So again, like always, you know, so often we think about just the front of our canvas, but we always like to think about those edges too, because if you're going to be hanging this up on your wall, you want it to be finished all the way around.
You got to detail it out, and it can hang whichever way you want.
When you get bored with it one way, you just flip it, right?
Yeah, each month, flip it over. Okay, really quickly, should we show the Mod Podge? Let me show this one more time for new viewers.
1 second, I am going to say that I do prefer bristle brushes over the foam brushes, but that's me, that's just my personal thing. But I've got a 6 and a 7-year-old, and they prefer the foam brushes. So, you know, I think it's just a personal preference what you're you're used to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about quickly the random plaid gift basket that somebody's going to get loaded with plaid products. So,
and I think it's just whoever's in the comments. Is that right?
I think that is John Bogle still around. Mr. John, are you there? So we can see, I think it's the people in the comments, and it's a random drawing, and whoever wins is going to get a basket full of plaid products. Mod Podge, and we don't even know what's going to be in this, but I know plaid, and they do great gift baskets. So somebody's going to win that. Really quickly, here is the difference between the gloss and the matte formula, just so you can see that. Okay, and the two bottles really quickly again are gloss and matte formula. That's the gloss, and this is the one Cathie used today, which is the matte formula.
And there's something else that we want to talk about quickly, and that is that today is National Mod Podge Day.
Yes.
And so we're really celebrating our little, matte and gloss, the two original Mod Podge.
Yeah, and it's 50 years old. In 1967, Mod Podge was invented, you guys. So it's an old. There's a reason why it has stayed around forever, because it's good stuff.
Now, one of our favorite things is so many people say Mod Podge.
Yeah.
It is Mod Podge, and even early on, years ago, Steve and I used to say Mod Podge all the time.
I never did.
But a lot of people don't know where the name comes from, and the name comes from modern decoupage. So, 50 plus years ago when it was invented, everything was like modern. So mod is shortened from modern, and then podge is shortened from decoupage. So that is how you get the name Mod Podge.
Jan invented it.
Yes, Jan Whetstone.
That's right. So. Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah, everyone's talking Mod Podge, Mod Podge.
Yeah, sounds like a 60s name. It absolutely was. 1967 is when Mod Podge came out. So,
and if you look at the label, it's still got that groovy vibe going on. And I think that's one of my favorite things, is that they never changed this up. We still have that fun label.
You can use it for a corkboard, absolutely. Corkboard, you can absolutely use it on corkboard. Any other questions, guys? My mom used it. Oh my God, yeah. I think everybody's. My mother used it also, born in 67. Okay, enjoy the class. Well, we enjoyed doing the class. This was so much fun. This is the first Michael's Zoom class that we have done. We want to do a shout out to Michael's and say, thank you, Michael's. This is fun. And during this, quarantine, pandemic, isolation thing, I think this is a wonderful thing. And I'm sure all your viewers are loving these classes. And of course, we love doing them. And we're so happy to show anybody new that is coming to these classes how Mod Podge works, this decoupage medium, the glue and sealer, which we've been using for years, and we're absolutely so happy to share this with you.
And one thing I want to say too is to remember to check out michaels.com, because at michaels.com you're going to see all the different Mod Podge products that are there, plus project inspiration. So there is a ton of resources there for you. So the brushes that Steve showed you earlier, you're going to be able to get a better look at those, and all of the different formulas that we have, because there's a ton of different Mod Podge formulas.
Yeah, and again, guys, this has been recorded, so you'll be able to see this tomorrow over on the Michaels website, and we'll put up I think we'll put up a little link in the chat. Is that correct, Debbie?
Yes, we're putting one up right now.
Beautiful. So everybody can revisit and rewatch it, or people that have come in late, you can check that out over on the Michaels website.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We had a great time teaching this class. We're going to be back for a few more classes. We talked about some of them, but we're going to be doing some stuff with Dimensional Magic. We're going to showcase the dishwasher formula in a class.
And that Ultra that everyone's asking for. We'll show that.
Lots of fun things coming up. So we're really excited to be here and have these fun classes available for you guys. So we'll post links on our social media. You can always go to Michael's, and I'm sure they're going to get emails from them and tell you about the classes. So sign up early and get here and come and have some fun with us next time.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.